Hi guys, Michael here with Parousia, and today we're going to be brewing with my favorite brewer, the Aeropress. Now there are a couple of different ways to brew with this guy. The method that I'm going to show you today is actually called the inverted method, and that is because, as you might guess, we're going to brew with it upside down. Now that might seem a little bit strange initially, but the reason we do that is so that when we start brewing, the water doesn't leak through like it normally would. Instead, we hold it here until we want it to come through the bottom. So this ends up being very similar to what you might get with a pour over because we're using a similar ratio. So I have 13 grams of coffee, and we're going to do a 1 to 16 brew ratio. Have 13 grams here, so we'll grind that and we'll rock and roll from there. Okay, so your Aeropress actually comes with this handy dandy little filter which you can use, or funnel rather, which you can use or not use. I find that it's very helpful to get the grounds all into the brewer. Grinding somewhat fine, maybe a little bit finer than you would for other pour over methods. But we're going to go right into this guy. And like I said, we're brewing with 16 grams of coffee. So we're actually going to do, I think the math on that is 208 grams of water. I have this at about 205 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to start by tearing or zeroing out our scale, and then we'll give it a little shake to make sure that it's flat bed there. And we're going to start with a bloom, just like you would with other pour over methods. And we're going to do that for about 30 seconds. I'm going to do 50 gram bloom. So I'll start with that. And you can do this pretty quick. You don't have to be precious about it. The nice thing about Aeropress is that it's very forgiving. And I'm going to start. Aeropress also comes with this little guy, so we'll just make sure all of our grounds are nice and wet. And we'll give it a second. So we're looking, like I said, for 208 grams total. So I'm at 50 now, and then we'll finish off with an additional 158. We're coming up on 30 seconds now, and I'm just going to hit that really hard. You don't have to be slow about it, because you want to give it a nice amount of time to steep. And 208 grams is right about near the top. So there we are. Comes with a plastic filter, and then you have, or a filter holder rather, and then these are what the Aeropress filters look like. So you just put that into there. And we're going to flip this around and give it a little twist. And then we're just hanging out for about a minute. So when we hit 2 minutes in from when we first started the timer, that's when we're going to flip it. Okay, so now that we are approaching the 2-minute mark, we're going to set aside our scale because we won't need that anymore. And we've got our cup. And basically we're just going to put my cup up top and then give it the old flip. And then from here you're just basically leaning on it. You don't have to push too hard, just let it do its thing. And within about a minute to a minute and a half you should reach the bottom of your water, meaning that you've pushed all the water through. And the reason we don't push too hard is because we don't want too much grit to force its way through the filter. And so what I'm listening for is the kind of that shh sound at the very end. And it sounds like I've reached there. So at the very end, we take this guy, move him aside, and what you have is a finished cup of coffee with the Aeropress inverted method.